What's going on, guys? Lawson Turner back with another episode of the Cover 2 podcast. Now, we went over the earlier game in the previous video, so let's dive into the late night game. The Denver Nuggets just beat the brakes off the Timberwolves. I don't expect this video to be very long because there's not really much to talk about. They just came out. They, as in the Denver Nuggets, came out and they looked desperate. They looked like they played with their hair on fire. This was the first game to me in which, oh, you need to win this game. Because even though I said in the game 2 reaction the series is over, I still think it's over. But for the sense of Nuggets fans and for the Denver Nuggets locker room and the coaching staff, it's like if you go down 3-0, no one's ever done that before. But the fact that you got this game, if there was a game that didn't, if let's just say Minnesota's going to win this series regardless, I felt like if there was a game for the Nuggets to get, it was this game. The star of the Timberwolves, he's a young superstar in Anthony Edwards. They're up 2-0. They're coming back home for game 3. The crowd's going to be into it, and he comes out a little flat-footed. Now, this was by far the worst game he's played all postseason to me. And it's crazy because he has played outstanding throughout. And he's still into with 19 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 turnovers. And was still efficient. He shot a little over 53% from the floor, 3 of 8 from downtown, from 3, and he just didn't have the same impact, lift, energy, aggression that he came out with in games 1 and game 2. Now, before we dive into the rest, you know what? We'll dive into the Nuggets after we dive into the Timberwolves. Karl-Anthony Towns, 7 shots, 7. 14 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 total shots. 5 of them were threes. Like when game 2 was close, you came out in the second half with showing aggression and getting downhill and using your size, and you're a big man. Do big man things. Like, I get it, you're one of the best 3-point shooting big men of all time, but you're so skilled. Like I said, we saw you in the second half of game 2 come out, be aggressive, get into the lane, get downhill, play around the rim. Now I know it's a spacing problem because Rudy's by the rim, and Rudy played like shit, but I'm cutting Rudy a little bit of slack. His first game back since his child was born. That's why he missed game 2. 6 points, 4 rebounds, no blocks, and only played 26 minutes. Now I don't know if 26 minutes was I don't know if it was not a fatigue thing because he missed last game, so he in theory should be well rested, but he just had the birth of his child, so maybe to get a lot of sleep that night. You know what I'm saying? And let's move on from Rudy. Mike Conley, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 for 9 from the floor, 1 for 5 from 3. He was not efficient at all, and his lack of high-end defense really showed out in this game. Because it seems like the Nuggets' big four were getting whatever they want, and they were. Last Timberwolves I'm going to spotlight Naz Reid. Didn't play as good as he did in games 1 and 2, but if you play your ass off in certain games, there's going to be this thing called regression to the mean. You're going to come back down to earth to whatever your average is. That's about who you are as a player. Now, 7 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 1 steal, 2 for 7 from the floor. In his limited 20 minutes, and it also hurt that Jaden McDaniels was in foul trouble all night long. Now, that's enough harping on the Timberwolves. Let's go to the Denver Nuggets. This was This was such a lethargic game for Jokic in the first half, and they were up 15. They were up 15 points at halftime, and Jokic had 7 points. And then he comes out in the third quarter and is uber aggressive. Like he didn't he they grew the 15-point lead, and then they did not take their foot off the gas. And I thought at any point if Minnesota could just cut this to a single digit game, crowds back into it, hell, even cut it to that 13 to 10 range, crowd's gonna get, oh hell, we might be coming back. Wrong. Jokic put a stomp on that. He into the game 24 points, 14 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. A just fantastic performance, and was 10 of 18 from the floor, very efficient as well. Jamal Murray, nice bounce back game. 24 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. 11 for 21 from the floor. This is the Jamal we've seen in postseasons before, and he was 2 for 5 in his 3-point shots. Mid 20s, mid to high 20s, 5 or more assists, and be engaged in the defensive end. And we saw he was getting steals, he was getting in passing lanes, he was using his quick hands to disrupt dribble moves. Michael Porter Jr. another game where he just couldn't miss from 3. And he had 21 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 4 for 5 from 3. Now I'm gonna rush past Michael Porter Jr. and go to Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon, 13 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 3 for 4 from 3. If Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon are going to combine 7 for 9 from 3, you're going to be hell to beat. Especially if Aaron Gordon is hitting 3 of the 4 threes he takes and shooting 75% from 3. It's tough. It is flat out tough. Denver outshot Minnesota from 3, 48% to 30. They also made 4 more threes. But other than that, like, how we got to 117 to 90 from the 10:40 mark to the 6:39 mark in the second quarter, Denver goes on an 11-2 run. And then they lead at 15.5. And then in the third quarter from the 5:01 mark to the 9.8 second mark, 16-5. And then in the fourth, to really put the icing on top, 16-4 run from the 10:38 mark to the 5:54 mark in the fourth quarter. And that was basically all she wrote. That's how we got to 117-190. Game 4 of that series is also Sunday. And I can't wait for all these game 4s because it looks like we have series now. It's not just one team's beating the other team's head in with a hammer. We got exciting series, and I cannot wait for Sunday night. Well, that's all I have for you guys for this episode of the Cover 2 Podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at the Cover 2 Pod 26. 2 on Twitter is TO as opposed to TWO. Link is also in the description. That will make it so much easier. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Who do you guys have winning Game 4? And who do you guys have winning the series? Do you think Minnesota has built up a big enough a what was once a 2-0 lead, now 2-1? Do they still win the series anyways? Well, like I mentioned earlier, thank you guys for watching. For the Cover 2 Podcast, I'm Lawson Turner, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.